Hey everyone, it's Rob Ryder, and it's Friday, December 3rd, 2021. And this video is intended for veterans. So if you know a veteran, please send them a link to have them watch. And if you're one of those veterans who've not watched any of my other videos before, but followed this link here, I'm going to show you that veterans' records are a matter of national security. And that what we should be doing to get our full entitlements is we need to demand an investigation. Because as I'll show you shortly, the records that they're relying on, that they've made a matter of national security, have errors in them. So let's get into that here in just a second. But I am Staff Sergeant Robert Allen Rytlewski, United States Army veteran, U.S. Army veteran. Right, my avatar is Rob Ryder, and my email address is courtofrecord@aol.com, COURTOFRECORD@aol.com. Okay, so what is it exactly I'm talking about? Well, let's get started. I guess I'll start here, right? That if you go to YouTube, if you've not watched my videos before, got Rob Ryder, ROBBBRYDER. It's got 3 B's, as you can see. Right, I don't know, I got hundreds of videos that I've done over 8, 9, 10 years now. And, many of them on veteran stuff. In fact, I have a playlist that has to do with veterans videos, but I don't keep it updated very good. So, there's a lot of these other videos that aren't in there. But, just so you know that this isn't my first time doing this. And I'm going to show you information that is readily available. And we're just going to look at it and say, well, that's what it says. And, I'm all about using their information to try to get them to do whatever needs to be done. Right? So give me just a second here. I'll load a few things up. We can get going. So let's go to a place I need to start, right? That if you're a veteran, you can go to My HEALTHeVET and do all this online, right? Do whatever it takes to sign up, But when you're all done, you can print out this personal information report. And when it prints out, by gosh, it says it's confidential. Now, confidential, for those who aren't in the military, right? That's a security classification. That makes it a matter of national security. Top secret, secret, confidential. Those are all national security classifications of information. Well, right next to this national security classification information, it's got my frickin' name wrong. Rytlewski, Robert A. Not my name. Don't know who you're talking about, right? My name's Robert Allen. Now, there's many other places that will say Rytlewski, Robert Allen. But on this, it says Rytlewski, Robert A. Right, so I'm scrolling down. It's like, well, there it is, right? No, that's not my name. And truly, that's not my birth date. My birth date's September 5th, 1958. Now, I knew these records already existed on my records from, other avenues of looking at records, but they were never on a document that said it's confidential, which that changes the whole nature of what we're dealing with here, because everything now just became a matter of national security because it's a confidential document. Well, in this, so when you go do this, right, you have all these different types of records that you could search on or ask for information on. So I just said all. I wanted everything, right? And you can pick the date range. And I've done this more than once on this particular one. This is the first time I did it. It was like a 6-month range. But I went back and put, the beginning date to be the date that I enlisted in 1979, and it still gave you a record, right? It gave you everything that's in your record, apparently. And then where it comes from, and as you can see, not all of it comes from the VA. Some of it comes from the DOD, right? Because they have this tie between these records that they use in the DEERS system to determine if you're eligible for a ID card, military ID. And I say that all veterans are authorized a military ID card because we've never been released from the military. Right? I don't know any veteran that has a discharge order. A DD-214 is not evidence of you being discharged from the military. A discharge order is evidence of you being discharged from the military. Right? It's an administrative function to release you from the custody and control of the military. And you could, if you were to go look at the beginning, of the UCMJ, and who it covers, for basically, I'll tell you, if you're enlisted, from the time you take an oath, you're no longer a civilian, right? So up until today, we're still in the military. Well, because of that, we're still getting paid. We just don't know it. And that's why they have all these errors, because somebody else taking advantage of all this money that's going into some account that we haven't ever collected because we're missing an action or presumed debt or whatever it is, whatever they've done. And, these are things I've covered in different videos, but it's just too much to try to cover one video. I'm going to have to stop right there. I'm just pointing out that if you do this, well, your name will be wrong. It'll be a confidential document, and you can start to find all sorts of errors. You got something to complain about. This will become your evidence that there's errors in your records. Right now, where's it all coming from? Well, there it goes. Department of Defense, DEERS. Now, I don't know who any of these things are. What's other? I mean, this is supposed to be a confidential record. Who's all the others putting shit in my confidential record? And then you get down to it says self-reported demographics, and it says that I told the VA that my name is Robert A. Rutluski. Well, I never did. I never told them my birth date was September 1st. I never, I've given them an address, God knows how many times, but they still don't have one down here for me. Don't have a phone number. It's like I don't even exist, like I'm homeless, right? Just, got a hold of us one time and then he disappeared. Well, you go down a little further. Now, this is what the VA put in. And they say that my name is Robert A. Rutluski, right? And that my birthday is September 1st. Well, that's not my birthday. But if you're saying that this is the record of that person, then this person isn't me. It goes on to say I don't have an ethnicity, don't have a religion, they don't know my place of birth. They really don't know much about me, right? They have an address, but it says my county is 081. Well, I don't live in county 081. I live in Kent County, Michigan. And even if we were using the numbers, that you could say, okay, every, got so many counties, each one has a number. 81 is not the number for Kent County. And I don't live in USA. USA is the abbreviation of United States of America. Now, if I had dots, it'd be the abbreviation of the United States Army. But USA with no dots is United States of America, which is a jurisdiction of King George III's successors, because King George III claimed the United States of America as his property in the Treaty of Peace in 1783. And in that treaty, it will talk about the United States of America, then it'll talk about the United States, then the United States of America, then the United States again. So it clearly is defining there's these two different entities in the frickin' peace treaty. Well, I don't want to be in King George's jurisdiction. See, in King George's jurisdiction, there's a class system. And a Mr. is below an Esquire. And so if you have ever noticed, when you talk to anything to do with a court or the government, they want to call you a Mr. Right? Because a Mr. does not have any freaking rights in the British class system. You're just a serf. Mr., Ms. So, it's all this elaborate scheme that we're living in, but this is where it shows up on paper. And now it's not just any paper, it's confidential records, right? National security with errors. Well, that should be a problem. That was what I thought. So I had these errors in here. And of course, at the time, when I first saw this, I didn't know that it was national security and so forth. But I said, look, there's errors. I want to get these records fixed. And I was looking in Title 38 of the Code of Federal Regulations, right? Title 38 has to do with veterans, the VA. And it talks about in Section 2.3, the delegation of authority to employees to take affidavits, administer oaths, etc. Right? So just let me read this for a little bit, right? An employee to whom authority was delegated by the Secretary in accordance with 38 U.S.C. 5711 or some other stuff, right? However they got it, whatever. Until such authority is revoked or otherwise terminated, empowered to take affidavits, to administer oaths or affirmations, to aid claimants in preparation and presentation of claims, and to make investigations, examine witnesses, and certify to the correctness of papers and documents upon any matter within the jurisdiction of Veterans Affairs. Well, I decided that's the person I need to talk to. right, to get these errors corrected. And well, look what else they can do for you. I mean, where's this employee at? Because it says this person can help you do your claim. But when you go to the VA, they send you immediately to a service officer, right, who's not a VA employee. They're, working for, excuse me, or working out of, like the American Legion, right? All these patriotic associations. But they're not an employee of the VA. And I said, well, this is the person I want to talk to. Let's read a little more. Then there's certain things they can't do about vouchers and so forth. That's okay. We'll get to that later. But then it says, any such oath, affirmation, affidavit, or examination, when certified under the hand of any such employee by whom it was administered or taken, and authenticated by the seal of the Department of Veterans Affairs, may be offered or used in any court of the United States, and without further proof of identity or authority, such employee shall have authority as such employee shall have like force and effect as if administered or taken before a clerk of the court. Well, that's a huge, huge, huge thing, because you get to have the seal of the VA on your documents. Right? Now if you go get an oath done, they want you to go have a notary public do it. Well, I don't know that the notary public's in the proper jurisdiction for the things I'm trying to get done, but I know that this person is, because they're using the seal of the VA. Right? So that's what I wanted to use. Well, so I contacted the Battle Creek VA Medical Center and, was talking to the patient advocate and, I can't remember the different things. It doesn't really matter right now. But anyways, I ended up getting the runaround. And they never did give me the name of this person. And then I wanted to talk to the privacy officer about getting my, Privacy Act record so I could get them corrected. I called him 3 different times. He never called me back. I told the patient advocate that, and they still didn't call me. Right? So I've been sitting here for the last few weeks now. So, what do you do with this? I mean, obviously they're not going to give it to you. What do you need to do? And so yesterday I decided, well, I'm going to call the VA police and tell them I want to file an incident report. Just on this right here. But then having done that and talking to a sheriff, what's your report going to be about? And it's like, I really don't want to tell these people all this stuff because they're looking for a reason to tell you they can't do it. What I want you to do is tell me how to fill it out an incident report, and I'll give it to you, and then we'll deal with it then. But, and he was a sergeant. He's, like the desk sergeant. So he doesn't really have any authority. But he said he's going to have a detective call me. And I said, oh, okay, cool. So I'm still waiting for the guy to call. I'm sure he will. It may not be today, but, if he doesn't call me, by today, well, I'll call him back Monday and say, hey, where's that detective at? But my point is, having done all that, I started to look for information to put together to talk to the guy. And that's when I found these little tie-ins that we're going to talk about right now, right? That if we go back to this HEALTHeVET, I want to make sure I show, because it talked about the VA information. So it's down towards the bottom. Not the VA, but the DOD information. Right? Right here. Right? DOD service, military service information. As confidential. Well, look at that. This report may not show your complete DOD military service. That's fine. But what it shows here, so I'm looking at mine, and it's got, I got out for a year, got back in, right, prior service. So I had these 2 different dates. But the first time I got out as a sergeant. I didn't get out as a corporal. They said, well, that's wrong. And then down here, well, my DD-214, it says I got out on 3/16/88, not 3/17. Like it's an intentional error that was put in there. I'm reading down further. It's like, there's no information in any of these things. They're all blank. I don't have an MOS as far as the DOD is concerned with the VA on a freaking confidential document. Right? I never had an MOS, occupation code. Right? Everything else is blank. So, errors. They're all over the place. Now, because this is done online, and you can go any day you want. You can go every day and print one out if you want to. I went back the 22nd of October, a little over a month ago, because in between the two times, I had been to the VA, um, to go to VA Health to be processed, basically, right? So once I did that, well, now they have my name as Rutluski, Robert Allen, right? And date of birth of 5 September 58. So that part's right. On this, again, on this other one. Right, from the beginning, it had a different name on it. I'm using the same computer, printing this stuff out, and now it's changed, and now it's Robert Allen. But all this other information as we get down here is still as incorrect as it was on the other, right? That's not my name. Right? They have, place of birth is missing, religion, ethnicity. I don't live in County 81. My country isn't USA. My country's United States. So, here's your evidence of the errors on confidential records. Now, why is that important? Well, because back in April 2nd, 1982, President Regan issued Executive Order 12356 having to do with national security information. Now, there's all sorts of executive orders having to do with national security, right? But this is the one that defined the classifications of information. Right? This order prescribes a uniform system of classifying, declassifying, safeguarding national security information. Okay, what are we doing? We're safeguarding national security information. What's the classifications of national security information? Well, you've got your top secret, your secret, and confidential. So they may have different levels, but they're all classified information of national security information. Right? No other terms shall be used to identify classified information. If there is reasonable doubt about the need to classify information, it shall be safeguarded as if it were classified pending a determination by an original classification authority who shall make this determination within 30 days. Okay, well, I've checked, these two different things I'm talking about that were more than 30 days apart. They still say they're confidential, so I guess it's still classified. Where are you? Okay, classification authority. Who can make it confidential? Well, agency heads, official designated by the president. They got a few people. Original confidential classification authority may be delegated only by the president, agency head. Classification categories shall be considered for classification if it concerns, any of these. And I'm looking at it, so I don't really see how my VA records should be classified as freaking confidential based on these things. Information shall be classified as long as it's required by national security. Each classified document shall be marked, right, stamped confidential, indicating which portions are classified. Well, it only has one stamp on it, so the whole page is classified, right? So, there you go. They make your records classified records. Well, now here's the part that we're going to use. Section 1.6, limitation on classification. In no case shall information be classified in order to conceal violations of law, inefficiency, or administrative error, to prevent embarrassment to a person, organization, or agency, to restrain competition or prevent delay the release of information that does not require protection in the interest of national security. Well, then why is my record confidential and it has errors in it? Because you can't classify it confidential to hide the errors. Right? So this is the thing I'm going to go with. Every veteran should say, look, I have this record. It's got errors in it. Right? It's been marked confidential. And, that would be a violation of, executive order having to do with national security. Because everything about our country is about national security, right? That's what we're running under, is national security. They have to keep things classified for national security. Well, you're not keeping my record classified with errors in it, right? So how do you get it fixed? Well, this is, again, this is where you have to have the investigation. So there are various ways that the VA can do investigations, right? So here we go. You can find this online. It's VA Directive 0700, right? Administrative Investigation Boards and Fact Finding. And so this is what I knew about this. It's like, well, how do I get them to do this? And I was kind of looking through it, and I got down to here: investigation by VA police officers. Wow. Okay. Well, right. Investigation govern more than one specific policy or regulation, if issued by an undersecretary or higher, will take precedence over contrary provisions of this directive. This includes, but not limited to, following type of investigations. Right. So the VA police can do an investigation. So that's what I'm going to take it to. Now, if they decide to, have a different arm do an investigation, that's up to them. But to me, that's the people to take your complaint to, because you're complaining about a national security issue. And, so they can't say that you're just bitching about your own information. No, this is a national security issue, man. You have to do something about it, which is why I plan on telling the detective when he calls me, and we'll see where it goes. Now, just one last thing. In Title 38, again, Code of Federal Regulations, right? Subsection 14601, investigation and development of the investigation. It talks about report of any collisions and so forth. And where an incident involves the loss of personal effects of a patient in the Department of Veterans Affairs facility, the director shall assist the patient in completing the SF-95 claim for damages and will advise the patient that will be forwarded immediately to the appropriate regional counsel for consideration. Right? So in any other case, they just hand you an SF-95, so here, fill this out and send it in. But if you can make it a situation where it has to do with the personal effects of a patient in a Department of Veterans Affairs facility, that the director shall do it. Well, they classify everybody as a patient, first of all. If you go to VA Health and get registered, you become a patient. All right? And these errors are I'm going to say the records are my personal effects, and there's errors in them caused by the VA. So I say they have to help me fill out my SF-95 form. But it goes on further then, and it says an employee will be designated at each facility to investigate motor vehicle collisions and other incidents involving damage to or loss of privately owned property or personal injury or death apparently from or allegedly resulting from the negligent or wrongful act or omission of an employee of the Department of Veterans Affairs acting within the scope of his or her employment, other than investigation of alleged malpractice or damage or loss to government-owned property caused by other than Department of Veterans Affairs employees. Right? So they're here to investigate the employees. Right? So this is the person here in 3 that has really the same powers that this person here had in 2.3. Right? So who is it that they've appointed to investigate motor vehicle collisions? Well, I'd say it's the VA police. Right? That they can do it. Because, I don't want it for the motor collision. I want it for these other incidents that happened on the VA property. Because they're the ones with the records. Very, very good. So, if you're a vet, you should try this. If you're a general, you should help us try this. Right? This is what's wrong in America is us veterans are not getting all of our benefits. We should be the ones out here in the field that are, reported in about what's going on in the United States. The United States is under martial law. It has been since 1863. President Lincoln declared martial law on September 15th, 1863, when he rescinded the writ of habeas corpus. And by doing that, once you take one part of the Constitution out, you took the whole thing out, right? We're no longer under the Constitution, we're under martial law. Well, a few months earlier, they had published the Lieber Code. And in the Lieber Code, in the second article, it says that once martial law has been declared, right, that it takes a special proclamation from the commander-in-chief or a peace treaty for it to end. And neither of those happened after the Civil War, whatever you want to call that. Never happened, right? So we're still under martial law. And the evidence is, when you go into a courtroom or any other place you go into that you believe to be a government office, you're going to find a gold-fringed flag. No, it's not an Admiralty flag, right? It's a flag used by the military in military offices, right? So it could be Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Space Force, Coast Guard, right? Everybody's got a gold-fringed flag, right? And that flag is covered by Army Regulation AR 840-10. If you go to Chapter 2, Section 3, it'll tell you in there that the gold-fringed flag, the places it can be displayed inside. And so like one of them, it says military courtrooms. It doesn't say anything about a civilian courtroom, but it does say military courtrooms. Well, when you go into court, you're going to see a gold-fringed flag. Well, then apparently you're in a military courtroom. If you go to your township supervisor's office, he's got a gold-fringed flag. Your city mayor's got a gold-fringed flag. Churches have gold-fringed flags because the churches were made, not the churches themselves, but the churches created these civil organizations that were given a commission by the War Department in 1917, and it's still ongoing. They have a gold-fringed flag. And all these places with gold-fringed flags are all interconnected as, that's the United States. Unfortunately, none of these people seem to know this shit. You can't get them to do anything. Right? Because, one of the biggest things they have done is to have your affidavit done properly so it can be filed into the proper court and, get the same, have the same authority as if it was done by the clerk of the court, which we just read about in 2.3, right? This is like super huge. Because one of the things is if you're a veteran and you want to have unemployability rating, it says in the rules that a veteran's unsupported statement that he's unemployable is enough to give him unemployability. You just need to tell him, hey, I'm unemployable. I can't do this shit. You don't really have to explain it to them. And they'll give you unemployability. That's how it's supposed to work. Right? But to do that, you would have to be able to put in an affidavit with the seal of the Veterans Affairs, I think, would be recognized as what it is, instead of trying to put something in that has a, somebody from the bank acting as a notary public. It's just not the right jurisdiction. Okay, so that's really all I wanted to show today. I mean, I don't have all the details. I just know that veterans' records are a matter of national security because they put on them, they're classified. Okay, well, just so we can highlight the points that matter. Isn't it? Here it is. Right. Again, this is Executive Order 12356, President Reagan on April 2nd, 1982, and Section 1.6. In no case shall information be classified in order to conceal violations of law, inefficiency, or administrative error. Okay, well, mine has administrative errors. I don't know if that's why it was classified that way, so we need to investigate. Right? And I want the guy to investigate. They can issue subpoenas, and I do want to show that law. Hang on, I got one more law to show you. Yeah, Title 38, United States Code 5711, authority to issue subpoenas for purposes of the laws administered by the Secretary. Well, those would be the laws of the United States. the Secretary and those employees to whom the Secretary may delegate such authority, to the extent of the authority so delegated, shall have the power to issue subpoenas, require production of books, take affidavits, aid claimants in preparation and presentation of claims, make investigations, examine witnesses upon any matter within the jurisdiction of the department. Well, there you are. Right? So I want an individual with this authority to be the one helping me do my claim. And if you're a fellow veteran, well, so do you. Right? And so this will apply to survivors too. I mean, it would be the same thing. A survivor, you want this person to do your claim. Right? We just need to figure out how to make it happen. And, well, so I'm going to go to directly to the source, to the VA police, and say, you guys investigate it. And if they start an investigation or whatever they do, and it gets, goes to somebody else, I don't, that's up to them. We'll see how it works. There was one other thing I wanted to show. Where was that? Oh, okay. So let me show you how this all fits together. One last thing. Hang on. All right. So this is in VA Directive 0700 again, right? Administrative investigations, yada, yada, yada. You go down to D, and you have these different styles of investigations. And one of them is investigations of allegations of insider threat or employee behavioral threat conducted by the Office of Operations, Security, and Preparedness Insider Threat Program pursuant to this executive order. Right? So, we're talking about a systemic problem here because all vets have the same problems. This shit is being done by somebody inside the United States government. It's not the United States doing it. It's, they're not doing any of this shit. There's bad actors working for the United States that have done it that haven't been identified yet. But this is how you can identify them because they're the ones putting errors in the fucking records. Let's have an investigation. And so they talk about this threat thing. I just wanted to show you. Well, they actually have a National Insider Threat Task Force, right, in the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. So if necessary, I'll take it to them. But again, I'm just starting with the police. That's what I'm taking it to. I'm going to my police force. The VA police work for me. It may not have been explained to them, but that's how it is, right? And so as a veteran, it's our job to explain it to them. But they work for us. And we're going to get down to the bottom of why. When we're done, there should be absolutely no errors in these records. And I'm telling you, if there's no errors in these records, then you're going to have access to all your benefits. It's because of these errors in your records. I must have my name used 4 or 5 different ways, 4 for sure, maybe 5, right, in different documents that I get from the VA, or when I look at my records from the military, or, whatever it is. It's like they created 3 or 4 different sets of records. Using different names and apparently different birth dates and different dates of release from the military and so forth. So, none of your information all comes together as pertaining to you with the right information on it. And that's what needs to be fixed. And as it said in this thing here, that, this dude here, he's got the power to examine witnesses and certify to the correctness of papers and documents upon any matter within the jurisdiction of the Veterans Affairs. Right? So when both you and he agree, he can certify that that's correct. Right? He's the person we need to be helping us do our claims. And apparently there is an employee will be designated at each facility to investigate motor vehicle collisions and other incidents involving damages to or lost privately owned property. I have to believe that's the VA police. They're just, they're identifying the VA police job to do the thing we need done. All right, that's in Title 38, Code of Federal Regulations, 14601. Very good. Now I am done. So, all right, veterans records are a matter of national security. We need to be demanding an investigation. And it would help if we had some stars and bars, lead the way getting this done for us. And I'm going to leave it there. Okay, y'all have a great day. See you now.